have this rather dramatic heritage oak tree here. It has been rescued a few times. It's had some big problems, but it's also making great strides in restoring itself. We did have a huge structural failure some years ago, and so the tree is coping with a few very large wounds and injuries. However, the tree has tremendous value on the site, so we want to preserve this old-timer. So we've done some accommodation to be sure that we don't have more failures. And one of the things that we've done some years ago, we put in a jack screw brace. You can see it under the large lateral limb there. The tree has a lot of imbalance due to a large failure some years ago. We can see along this long lateral limb here, we have the occurrence of epicormic shoots, giving a lot of energy and life and vitality to the tree. We want to increase the tree's circulation by as much foliage as we can. Every leaf is a little solar panel making photosynthates and carbohydrates. So the more leaves, the more vascular power. We never strip out the canopy. We never remove all of these epicormics from the inside of the tree. When the tree produces those, it's for a reason, and we want to let the tree have that time. The epicormics also keep the bark in the shade so we don't have sunburn to these big, massive lateral limbs. So the tree has produced those shoots because there's enough light inside to sustain them. So when and if they die back, we'll remove them then. Otherwise, we're going to allow them to occur, and we're going to let the tree be compact and complex. We like to have a lot of interiors like this. It gives the tree a lot of energy, a lot of vitality, good bark circulation, cambium expansion, and this strengthens and benefits the tree. We're also then able to pull in the radius and the span of the tree. As these interiors occur, we're able to take more and more out of the fringe and keep the tree consolidated and compact. Here is the site of the fungal activity that we found a few years ago. It was right down in here in this narrow crotch. We cleaned it out as best we could without digging in. We don't want to make a larger wound. So we just removed the outward expression of the fungus, the fungal bloom, and then we sprayed this area right in here, this crevice, with our extract of orange rind oil and soaked that crevice. The mushrooms have not returned. This was a codominant leading tree. We had two giant main stems. This is at least 3 feet across, the trunk that failed. Now you can see that the center is all hollowed out, and this defect was here before the limb failed. A very large limb was cut to create roadway clearance. That very large cut resulted in decay that rotted from that main stem back into the trunk, back down inside. So this has hollowed out a large section of this codominant stem, and so it is rotted right down and even below grade. We can even see a bit of the base of the trunk of the adjoining tree. What we're hoping is that these two giant main stems are actually separate trees that have pleached together over the many, many decades. And if that's the case, the stability of our remaining trunk could be much more promising. The tree is so valuable to site that we're going to preserve it with some braces to prevent the tree from simply going over as a result of imbalance. The break from this trunk was several feet out and has been excised all the way back to here. This has been some years ago. We have disinfected the end grain of this wood a few times with our orange oil beeswax to slow down decay, so the tree has time to wall off this huge injury. It's an enormous injury. However, the decay has been very slow here. We have no mushrooms occurring on this stump. We do have a shoot that has risen up from the base here at the root crown. Not very impressive yet, only about a ½ inch diameter, about 6 feet tall. We have this root crown shoot. We're going to let this run. Any circulation that can be maintained at this root crown is going to help in the tree's preservation and longevity. This is a very extreme case, but the principles and the concepts that we're applying here apply to any size tree. And so in an effort to preserve this old timer, we've got some braces and supports in so the tree doesn't go over simply by gravity. Meanwhile, we have lots of epicormics on the sunny side of the tree. It's producing new shoots all over the canopy. We hope to grow new laterals and send the tree into the future.